All right, cool. So you may or may not have already signed into your simulation. And if you have, you might have realized that some people have started to change the names of your countries. So that's something to be aware of. You might have already changed yours, but this is all customizable. So please start to change that, start to choose your government types and whatnot. Ross is going to go through that. So today, the purpose of our conversation is to talk a little bit about those countries, to tell you how to make those decisions, but why we're playing this to begin with and how you're going to win in the end. Overall, there's a lot that you can do in the sim. We don't expect you to take full advantage of it, but we do expect you to have some fun while you're doing it. If you have questions, we'll talk about support, and we'll talk about how to strategize as a team and how to work with us as Ross, myself, and our team to support you in that. And with that being said, you received an email most likely, and if you haven't, please put your name in the chat about what is going on this week in terms of all the links. There's a bunch of links in that email. Should be support sections, how to vote. We'll talk about that voting for top country, but that should be a good starting point for reaching back out to us for any questions. I will also mention there's a leaderboard in there and there's a Twitter feed link in there. So a lot of the week will be throwing out a bunch of information on that. You'll be able to track who's winning on that leaderboard, and also share it with your friends and colleagues to brag about how well or potentially needing of support you might be. With that being said, why are we doing this to begin with? Well, first and foremost, Statecraft, we're here because we want to engage students. We are all students of life at this point in time. Whether or not you're here for that aspect of it, we want you to understand how we engage students. So as you play, hopefully you get to see how your students could play. And also, like, you're at ISA to have fun and connect with colleagues. So we hope that you engage in that too. And maybe you find someone that you've never met and you end up writing a paper with it. That would be awesome. So a lot of that networking aspect. And then obviously, if you're in it for the win, to win a prize. So yes, we want to make sure that that competition is still available for you. With that being said, there are some goals to the simulation. There's some competitive goals that Ross will be going over shortly. He'll show you how that works that you can keep an eye on. And those will be the goals that help determine whether or not you win the simulation. So keeping an eye on your strategy based on the government types and attributes that you've chosen to go after those goals is your ultimate priority. Now, there are 4 separate worlds. Each world has a different focus based upon the professors in those worlds. So some might be more peaceful, some might be a little bit more aggressive, some might be tending to want to trade more. It's really based on the people in them. And this is also to exhibit not just how the sim works, but if you were to put it in a class, what you're teaching and the students that you have in those classes, how those worlds differ. The end result of each world will always be different. The number of algorithms and choices that are in that are constantly shifting around, and the ways that you decide to engage with that are always different. So keep that in mind, that just because one country in another world might be gaining some ground on their map, it doesn't mean that you can't in yours, or that you can't supersede them in power with other points in your world. How do you win though? Well, since there are 4 worlds, you're competing for the score. You're not competing to be the best in your world, you're competing to be the top score over all 4 worlds. And that will be displayed on that leaderboard. So it could be that there are 2 teams from one world and one team, or 2 teams from a different world. It could also be that there are 1 team from each world, or maybe 4 teams in one world. It really depends on that score. And so we will update that at the end of every day. Who here is familiar with turn-based simulations? Any familiar? Okay, cool. And that's totally okay if you're not. The way that this will work is you'll have between, Ross, correct me if I'm wrong, 5:30 in the morning?
Yeah, technically, since the turns end at 10 p.m. every night, right around 10:30, the next turn will start. But we've broadcast to everybody that that 5 a.m. is when they'll start. So it'll be available to do actions before that, but we don't expect people to do anything until the morning at some point, whenever it's convenient for you.
So that means you can make decisions all the way up until 9:59 p.m., which means you might be sitting there trying to do some trading right at that last minute to make sure that all of your decisions get inputted for our algorithm to then spit out what resources you might get and what technologies you might get in moving forward towards your goals. Dr. Hammond?
Yes, thank you. Just which time zone are we talking about? Because you mentioned it's 12 o'clock where you are.
That is a great call. It is CST, so Central Time Zone, wherever Nashville is. That's
Okay.
what we're focusing on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great question. Let me see if there's anything else that I have before I pass it off. Oh, in terms of winners, we'll announce on Friday via Twitter in the afternoon, close to 4 p.m. And then we'll get in contact with those winners. And the way that works is, let's say you're on a team of 3 people and you get first place. That $300 is split to 3 people. If you're on a team with 1 person, it's one $300 gift card, but it's a gift card, like a Visa gift card, so that you get it online. You can spend it wherever you want at that point. I don't want to know where you're going to spend it. Just have fun with it. And then the last one, I think that's it. Ross, you want to take over and talk about the map and how it's all going to work?
Sure. Again, thank you everybody for joining us. I'll try and make this brief. What I'd like to do here is just share my screen. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that here. When you first log in, you will experience something like this. This is a tutorial that requires you to click through it in the correct spots. It sets you up with an understanding of how to take the initial actions. In turn 0, which you're currently in until the end of today, until 10 p.m. tonight, you'll have the opportunity to pick your country attributes, pick the leadership style that you would like. And what I've done is I've logged in here after that tutorial with a separate country. You can see that my country here is called Truffle Land. And I have, if you look and match the flag with the position on the map, you can tell which country is yours. And so that's your country. You'll be interacting with the other countries on the map. And each sim this year has about 9 countries in it, as well as it has a country that is going to be a haven for pirates. And there's a bunch of other events that are going to unfold across the 5 turns or across the 5 days that you guys will be playing. So I'm excited for you. The first thing you're going to want to do when you log in is click country settings and then click initial settings and walk through this. You can pick your government type. You can pick what attributes you'd like to start with. You can pick to name your cities specific names. And if you'd like to name every single province or zone of your country, you can name those as well. So feel free to do all that and then click submit. If you're playing with multiple players in your own team, you can also click vote for president and select the person who you would like to be president or who you might have discussed will be the president in your group. And that's basically it for turn 0. You're getting used to that. Now, what I would do if I was playing in your roles, yeah, I've got a question, Dr. Vicasi.
Yeah, I was wondering about the team. So my work colleague Nick Masinski is here, and we were hoping to play on a team together. And I see we are actually in the same world playing against each other.
Okay.
Anyway, can we still change that, or are we just fated to be competitors, or should we reach out to somebody about that, or what can we do?
Yeah, if you would like to, if you want to send me a quick email after this, I can definitely try and assign you together. I'll rearrange some of those assignments to try and get you on the same team.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, apologies that you didn't end up.
No,
although it sounds like there's a good little, jovial rival going, so there could be something fun, but it's more fun to play with someone, I understand that. The next thing I would do,
I think we're both solo right now. Is that right, Nick? Anyway, I'll send you an email. We don't need to talk about this over. I'll send you an email. Thank you.
Okay, for sure. I would then look into the manual, and you'll find the manual under documents. The manual for Statecraft Lite really just is as light as possible. We wanted to be quick. We wanted you to be able to jump in and feel like what's going on. And so it's 5 pages. And it looks like I'm scrolling through a lot, but that's it. There's 5 pages. What I have done in the chat is I've gone ahead and shared our accessible version of our larger manual, which goes into some of the finer details of, for example, the country settings. If you wanted to find out exactly, what does it mean for the simulation with those initial settings to be industrialists, or what does it mean to be scientific? If you want the appendices and you want to see the numbers, it's all in there. So if you would like to check that, I've dropped that into the chat. We'll probably also send out a link to that in email at some point today, just to let everybody know, but it is large. Our regular sim has a 70-page manual or so, but the great thing about that is a lot of it is just numbers and appendices if people want to get into it. Other than that, it's just a great exploration of what's in the sim. And we think it can be summarized in this light version with these 5 pages. So if you have the time, I know you guys are really busy with the conference, but that's a great opportunity to do a quick read of that. And then the other thing that I want to draw your attention to here would just be the gradebook. If you do click into gradebook, it'll show you ways to score points throughout the sim. So there's most scientifically advanced, there's most politically astute. Stopping global warming will potentially help you. The map is going to melt slowly, and so you'll start losing land. Your goal is to try and keep as much of your land as possible, because that's going to keep your score high. And then these points awarded on the final quality of life, that's really the one that you should be focusing on this time for this run through. And the best quality of life doesn't necessarily mean, we just stick to ourselves and we're pacifist or isolationist. If you're sharing a lot with others, if you're trading a lot with others, if you're researching a lot, and even if you are militaristic in some ways, that could benefit you if you're able to take more land and more resources. So your goal is to interact with all the countries on the map as much as you can, collecting these first 5 resources. You'll see gold, oil, food, steel, and scientific knowledge. Keeping your approval up, which the manual does a great job of explaining how to do that, and improving your quality of life. You can do so through researching. I would always remember to set research priorities every round. You won't be doing it in turn 0, but as of tonight, you'll be able to do that, or tomorrow morning, you'll be able to do that. Start setting priorities, start trading your already researched. Every country starts out with some that have researched, start trading those with others. And then also use diplomacy. That's one of the reasons we're at ISA. Treaties are amazing. They're upheld only through your own honor, in a sense, in the sim. International organizations, you can expel people from organizations, you can invite people to organizations, you can condemn them publicly. There's a lot of great things that are going on here that this semester especially have been really well represented in the real world. And I know Dr. Thurston is currently running one of our sims. Super fun to see how that sim is unfolding. Stefan, did I miss anything at this point?
I think the only thing I would say is the quality of life is an average of all of the turns. So just because you might end with the highest quality of life doesn't mean that you have the best score. So you want it to be a steadily increasing average if that is what you're going to go after.
Yes. And I increase these predominantly through building, buildings that align with them, or through enacting policies, all of which can be done when I click on my main city dot, which is the red one. That's my capital city. I'll be able to purchase structures. Right now I have no resources. I'll be able to purchase structures, but also under the purchase structures screen will be policies that take, instead of these 5 basic resources, that take my political capital instead. I gain more political capital by keeping my approval high within my nation. And so the quality of life could be increased in that way. But honestly, to build more, I'll need as many resources as I can. So trading more, but both trading my scientific knowledge and my basic resources, and then potentially either conquering land or setting up just a really, really good trade system with other countries. And maybe sharing a lot of ambassadors with them to understand what they're getting each round as well. I know this is a lot of information coming at you very quickly, so I hope that that's not too overwhelming. I do want to let you know that we have really great support. We're standing by to help you. So if you want to ask us any sort of questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach out by either clicking into help, and then at the bottom of any of these pages, you'll be able to send us a message by contacting support. You can also click this email down in the bottom left, and that will, if you've got an email attached to your browser, it'll be able to send us an email right here, and we'll respond really quickly to that.
Ross is also going to be holding twice daily support sessions. You will end your first session in the morning around 10 o'clock. So we have a session between then and the next at 10:10 to 10:25. And then the next one will be in the afternoon from 3:40 to 3:55. And so essentially what that is, it's all in that link that's in your email for support sessions. The Zoom link should be in there if you copy it to your calendar, just like you came in today. Feel free to hop into those. If you are looking for some more strategic help, feel free to email us too, and we can set up a meeting and go through like what your goals are and how that works. That is available to everyone. So that is not something that you should feel like you'd be cheating. We realize this is a lot of information, and to play it in a back-to-back manner while you're also going to sessions, like sometimes it's going to be, a little difficult, but we want to be here to support you through this. Because if you can get it, which is really, you can, this is the IR Lite, you got this, it'll be fun. Other than that, the other ways, we're going to ask for questions in a second too, but another way that anybody can like be part of this, if you have friends who are wanting to like get in on the action, they can vote for the most winning country. So if they get that right, let's say they vote for your country and you absolutely win, they get put into a raffle to win $50. That's three $50 gift cards. You can also vote for yourself too. Didn't say you can't. So if you want to do that, that's available. It'll start tomorrow morning and go through Wednesday at the end of that turn 2. Because we can't have it go all the way to the end. Why would you vote for yourself and then know that you're going to lose and then vote for someone else? That's just kind of like treasonous. At that point, though, we'll make sure that you have the link already. It's not available to vote yet, but you can definitely send that out to friends. And then all of this stuff will be on the leaderboard. So when you walk around at ISA, if you actually do show up, I assume there's a staircase or an escalator up to this spot, but there'll be a big TV. And it'll go through a slide, and then it'll show where stands are. Like your name will be on there with your specific country, to kind of show off that you're doing well in that. But yeah, that's kind of where everything will be located. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm reading my list here. Other than that, I think, are there any questions? Any questions that y'all have? No question is a bad question. Yes. Go for it, Dr. Taylor.
So some of us are put into countries with people we don't know. Is there a way that you recommend getting started on this?
Yeah, Ross, you want to take that? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just want to pull up the simulation again so that I can show you, I think, what might be the easiest way to get in contact with others. There's a messaging system in the simulation. And so what you can do there is, as long as those people have already signed up, you would be able to send them a message and actually have it forward to their email. So again, I was just pulling this up. Let me share that again. So in the simulation, there's a messaging system. That messaging system will be here, mailbox. You'll receive a lot of updates per round. A lot of what's going on in the sim will be described here. You could compose, and you can actually pick your own country from here and send the students a message, and then you could click forward to student email. In this case, it's participants email, but you could reach out to them that way. We're also actually going to be sending out a roster for your entire world, just in case you want to use email or another form of communication to reach out to anyone. And so we recommend that you log in if you want. We've had people who, especially people who have yet to have other teammates sign up, who have just started and jumped right in. We'll be getting out that email later this afternoon that will we'll have the roster, and so you'll be able to reach out to your teammates. We definitely recommend that if potentially your teammates that you don't know are not participating, you'd have to jump in there and help out. If we find that that's happening too often, we can also potentially combine teams where we take one person out and put them into a different team. So we can do a lot of stuff like that. Please reach out to us in that regard, and we'd be happy to, especially if you find that it's too much for you to take on alone. We want it to be a great experience for you. So we'll allow, we can see what we can do at that point.
I'll also add a couple things here. There's a chat option on the right side if they are on the sim already, but something that I do talk about with teachers is that if you're into social media and you just want to be Instagramming your friends or just calling or texting, find a way that works best for your country. You should have been introduced to all of them via email at this point. If not, that's okay. There might be still a few coming up, but figuring it out obviously is going to be that first key step. So it's a really great question, Dr. Taylor. Does that help answer? Is there any follow-ups on that?
I think that's good. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, no worries. Dr. Thurston had asked about Twitter. You can find our Twitter feed there at statecraft_sims. Feel free to start following us. We are not the biggest social media people, but we're going to do our best to make sure that these are updated, and ISA is going to pump those out as well. Any other questions?
I had a
Sorry,
question.
very, very basic question. Where can I see my teammates? Because I see 2 members of opposite teams which are online now, but where can I see my teammates? Where basically?
That's a great question. If you click onto any of your flags, so for example, here in Truffle Land, if I click onto a flag, there will be a tab for officials, and you can see there who's on your team.
Ah, excellent. Okay. Yeah, I was looking for that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Great question. Dr. Misinski?
Yeah, I have a question about, is there a phone app for this, or are we still on desktop?
There is not currently an app, but if you want to use your phone, the system is set up to be accessed via browser pretty easily. And we'll adjust size based on the browser you're using. We do recommend that you use Chrome or Safari to access it. But if you do use either of those browsers, you should be able to access it using your phone.
Great question.
My students have told me that it works really well on their phones.
That's great. That's good to hear.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Awesome. Any other questions? Okay. Well, does anybody have a teammate here? I'm happy to put you in a breakout room if you want to. That is all the information that we have for today. Obviously, we have support sessions every day this week in the morning and in the afternoon. You can always email us with other questions. But if you're good to go, feel free to hop off. If you want to stick around and jump into a team meeting, we can put you in that breakout. Just let me know what works best for you. So thanks so much for coming out today, y'all. We're excited to get you started.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great ISA too.
Thanks.
Yeah.